What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Life Knowledge. Today we're going to be talking about fasting and diet. Go ahead and like and subscribe below if you like the video and share it with a friend. Okay, so recently in recent years, I saw this study done about how when your body doesn't eat food, when you don't eat a lot of food and stuff, your body starts to eat itself, essentially, to, put it on like basic terms. Your body starts to consume its stored up fat, its stored up, reserves, essentially. And what that does is it help eat up fat stores, essentially. So when you're fasting, your body starts to consume itself. So a lot of people say like things like breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? And that just depends on what diet you're doing, right? It doesn't help you to eat a Pop-Tart in the morning for breakfast, waffles, like things that aren't actually going to sustain you throughout the day, unless you're on like a high exercise diet, like on a high exercise with your diet, essentially. Every person is different. I would consult a personal trainer, a doctor, a dietitian, someone who uses, different methods and methodologies on these things if you're extremely curious. But what works for me is I never eat breakfast. I don't enjoy it. I don't really like it. And I think the main reason why is because in my mind, I think about like back in the day when people were, caveman status, they would essentially not eat unless they caught, killed, or gathered their food, like they'd have to get their own food for themselves before they could eat. Going to the grocery store wasn't an option, going to the drive-thru wasn't an option, etc. Like those things weren't options, and so everything you ate, you got yourself. And so in the morning time, most of the time people would wake up and they would start hunting, fishing, gathering, foraging, etc. for their food. Eventually humans got smarter and, started storing things and such, but they would have one meal a day, typically in the afternoon, after they had caught or killed or gathered or something else for the future. Another thing is that humans often mistake hunger for thirst. And so typically when you feel that sense of hunger, you're actually experiencing thirst. If your mouth is ever dry and you have like a dry sensation, that means you're dehydrated. So first check in with yourself and say, one, am I actually thirsty or am I actually hungry? Because water can fill your stomach just as easily as food can fill your stomach. But, if you're trying to lose weight or, gain muscle or, cut down or whatever you want to call it, water's going to do you much better, So drink a bottle of water before every meal, drink a glass of water before every meal. Don't eat breakfast. And what you eat is just as important as how you eat it, or when you're eating it. So focus on like high protein. Can be, if you're a vegan or vegetarian, there are different plants that value or have high value in protein, so that shouldn't be a problem. But for those who do eat meat, you can eat all kinds of meat, it doesn't really matter. Fish, chicken, eggs, beef, things that are high in protein, and that'll keep your health in check. When I was, trying to be as fit as possible, I would eat those sort of things, and I'm still pretty fit. I have a six-pack. I have, muscles. I'm not skin and bones. I'm not overly overweight. I'm pretty healthy, and so I feel like I can authoritatively say that what's working for me is working for me, and you're welcome to join as well in doing what I do for myself. So no breakfast, drinking a lot of water, make sure you eat clean, or raw vegetables, raw foods. if possible. But if not, then, high protein, and things like that. And fasting is a huge part of it. Don't eat food when you don't deserve food. Like, Arnold Schwarzenegger was actually a really big advocator of this, where he said that he would reward himself essentially with a meal after a workout. Like, he would always reward himself with food or things to, replenish and stuff, because then he deserved it, right? And if you live life like that, like, if you, let's say, like, you haven't done anything in your day, you haven't even made your bed, your house is messy, like, you haven't done anything of value, why do you deserve to eat food? Like, and that's controversial to some people, but it's also true. Like, if you don't do anything, why do you deserve a reward? And our brain makeup is essentially like, we don't want to do work after we've received a reward. The reward, why work harder, when you've already received the reward? There's no point. And so if you want results, you need to work before the reward. So go out and work, go do some sort of work, doesn't really matter what it is, and then receive the reward if you like breakfast. So make sure if you're up early, you're doing something to work for that reward, and then get the reward. It's a simple process that a lot of people have forgotten, or since times have changed, with modern culture and modern things, modern society, things have changed a lot, but essentially our chemical makeup, our physical structure is the same. And a lot of people are getting confused on that, and our body chemical structure hasn't advanced nearly as much as technology and money and culture. So keep that in mind when doctors tell you, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They were giving that advice to people who worked harder than we work now today in our modern society. If you work out in fields or on buildings or construction or those sort of things, yeah, it's probably still important, to eat a couple meals a day, depending on your caloric intake or output or whatever, depending on how hard you work, is how much you should eat. So just bear that in mind. Fasting is very important. Also, in studies done on cancer, I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it again, where so when your body starts eating itself, it's eating the cancer cells also that have been built up inside your body, because your body is constantly making cancer cells, and cancer cells are essentially like just mutated genes or mutated cells and things like that. And when you fast, your body starts to eat those cells along with, the other cells that are negative in your body to try to maintain. And that's a great thing, like, it's better that your muscles expend that energy, from those cancerinogens, and allow those cells to be destroyed, because it's better, better out than in, obviously. You don't want cancer cells in your body. So letting your body fast or not eat food for a period of 5 to 24 hours can be very healthy for you, very beneficial. I would just suggest you guys check into intermittent fasting as well. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and comment below, and thank you for your time. Have a great one, and have the day you deserve.